The new world of EU4 is always seen by many EU4 players as isolated and somewhat lacking in gameplay, particularly if you're playing as a nation that is incredibly lonely. There are, however, a few nations that are actually fairly fun to play and don't particularly lack in flavour in comparison to other New World nations. So today, we're going to talk about one of the more exciting nations in the New World, and they are known as the Aztecs. The Aztecs are the most powerful nation in the New World, with 52 development, and it is located in central Mexico, giving the nation vast avenues of expansion. The interesting starting ruler of the Aztecs is also incredibly good, and its unique national idea set gives it overpowered ideas, such as plus 10% morale of armies. The question is though, historically, how did the Aztecs rise to power, since they went from an irrelevant tribe to one of the biggest empires the New World has ever seen? If this video gets 3,000 likes, then the next video will be on a South American nation, and please consider subscribing so we can get to 50,000 subscribers. We begin our story by first understanding the origins of the Aztecs. And in legend, it was told that the Aztecs migrated from a mysterious place called Aztlan to the Valley of Mexico. The founding of their capital, Tenochtitlan, occurred in 1325, and according to legend, their sun god told the people to settle their capital where a giant eagle was eating a snake perched on a cactus. At first, the Aztecs were an obscure tribe and were subjects of the Tepanik and had to pay vast tributes to them. Eventually, however, in 1428, the city-state formed an alliance with other city-states, creating the Aztec Triple Alliance to fight the Overlord. Eventually, this Triple Alliance won the battle for regional control and collected tributes from conquered states. The rise of the Aztecs from this point can be explained by three main factors: the Aztec religion, the economy of the Valley of Mexico, and the Aztec political system. The Aztec religion centered around a fierce sun god. In order for the sun to rise and the crops to grow, the Aztecs had to nourish their god with human blood. War, therefore, was a religious obligation that provided prisoners who could be sacrificed to the sun god. The Aztecs therefore did not need to persuade the people of the need to go to war, and could use the reason of religion to persuade the people. The economy of the Aztecs also flourished, with agriculture being highly productive, and they were able to feed their vast empire. Unlike what EU4 shows you, the Aztecs did not use ducats, and they had a number of different types of currencies, such as T-shaped copper and cocoa beans. Trading centres were large and common in the Aztec Empire, allowing for a large amount of economic activity. Finally, their political system was highly complex, with a top-to-bottom government structure. The Aztec emperors were thought to be gods, and had absolute power, enforcing a strict code of law, which allowed stability within the empire. After gaining their superiority of a region, the Aztec Empire began to expand their territorial possessions all over modern-day Mexico. In 1440, a man by the name of Moctezuma first took command, and is the starting Aztec ruler of EU4. He vastly contributed to the power of the Triple Alliance, expanding the territory significantly. The Aztecs could have continued to rise to power and maintain it, but in the early 16th century, the Spanish arrived. In 1518, the Spanish governor of Cuba had sent expeditions to the mainland coast of America, and heard reports of vast wealth with fine gold on this mysterious place. The governor then sent another expedition and chose Hernán Cortés to lead it. Upon arrival in the Americas, the Spanish began to patrol the coast, and word soon reached the Aztec emperor, who decided to send gold and silver as gifts. This gave the Spanish even more reason to plunder the land, and Cortés grew to be ambitious and set his sights on taking the land for Spain. He therefore marched towards the capital. Once Cortés arrived, the city had a population of 200,000 people, and despite initially friendly relations between the Aztecs and the Spanish, this turned sour, and Cortés arrested the emperor, taking control of the city. Reports came in 1519 that the governor of Cuba had sent an expedition to arrest Cortés. Cortés then left the city, leaving it in the hands of his subordinate, Pedro. It was unclear why the Aztec Emperor was so passive towards these invaders, but many speculate he wanted to gain more information about the Spanish and save the city. In my opinion, Moctezuma II's pacifism and appeasement of the Spanish in large part played a role in the downfall of the Aztecs. Had the Emperor been observant of the potential Spanish intentions, he could have potentially prevented the Spanish from weakening his empire. The Aztecs eventually revolted, attacking the Spanish in their city, and even when the Spanish sent in the Aztec leader to appeal to them, he was stoned to death, and so the Aztecs fought the Spanish in the Battle of Otumba. After this battle, Cortés fled and attempted to regain his power by allying with local enemies of the Aztecs. Eventually, Cortés seized the capital, leading to the destruction of the Aztec Empire that they could have never recovered from. On top of this, diseases such as smallpox also played a role in the rapid decline of the Aztecs, which in my opinion allowed the Spanish to be able to control the territory with limited resistance. Could you, however, change the fate of the Aztecs and in fact colonize Europe instead? Thank you guys for watching. Remember to like and check out some of my other videos on history in EU4.